What's good in the hood, YouTube? This is Crazy Samurai 71 here bringing you another video. Today I'm doing my episode 12 review of the Powerpuff Girls 2016 TV show. Today's episode is entitled The Wrinklegruff Gals. And it's an interesting one for sure. You may be wondering, how am I watching this early when the episode hasn't really aired in America yet? Some countries it actually airs pretty early, so that's how I'm able to get access to it. And I am in America, but I'm able to find it elsewhere. Anyway, thing is that it's an interesting episode. So let me get into it. So what happens is that the girls end up going to their first day of kindergarten, which is a little bit confusing because they had been to school already in previous episodes, and yet they say that they're going to their first day of school. Kind of confused on that. Maybe it's a new year, but they say Pokey Oaks Kindergarten, which is like the original show's kindergarten school. Kind of weird, because does that mean that they were in preschool in those earlier episodes, or is the timeline swapped around where technically this episode should have been earlier, but due to how they want to release things, they switched it around? Just kind of something I noted that sort of confused me about it. Anyway, getting past that, just wanted to mention it though. We then find out that the Pokeos Kindergarten they can't go to, and it's closed due to the fact that, well, let's just say they actually have a flashback that features some 2D animation that looks very similar to the original Powerpuff Girls, and it has Bubbles, and Bubbles' hair is similar to how she looked back then. But the thing is that it's not the voice of Tara Strong. It's still the same voice that we've been hearing for the 2016 show. So that is something to note. But the thing is that she apparently dropped some chemicals into the hamster container, and the hamster mutated and got gigantic, and basically they had to close the school because of that. Due to this, they end up having to switch schools to a public school where big kids go, and this is uncomfortable for them. And the thing is that the professor's like, "Oh my God, you're growing up. I don't want you to grow." And he's emotional, of course, because he's like their father. And so the thing is that they end up going, and they're nervous because because they're not used to dealing with big kids. But they go in there and they try to act cool and all that. And so first of all, you have Blossom, who tries to talk to some of the girls, and the girls refer to her like, "Is that really your voice? You sound like a baby. You have a baby voice." And so they start making fun of her and saying, "Baby voice, baby voice, baby, baby." And then Bubbles has a different issue where she speaks to some girls, and they're all like kind of, "Hello, what's up?" like that. And the thing is that they're like, "Oh my God, does your father do your hair?" And she's like, "Yes." And then they're like, "You have baby hair." And then they all make fun of her saying she's baby hair. And then you have Buttercup, who ends up speaking to this girl while she's in the bathroom, and she's washing her face and everything. And suddenly the girl's like, "Oh my God, your skin is nowhere near as good as mine." And her skin is like pimples and zits and everything all over the place. And she's like, "You have a baby face." And she starts making fun of her for having a baby face. And the thing is that, these girls are supposed to be in kindergarten. What do you expect from them? So the thing is that they don't like the way they're treated, and it's their first day of school. Remember that. So the thing is, they go back home. They complain to the professor that they want to be older. So they end up bothering him like crazy, saying older, 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 until eventually he's like, "All right, it's risky, but I guess I'll do it." So in order to do so, like the original intro, rather than it being sugar, spice, and everything nice, in this case it's fiber, prunes, and everything mild. And the thing is that it works perfectly. And the thing is that they take a little bit. And he says, "Only take a little bit." But what happens is that when they go to sleep, they think, "This is taking too long." And Buttercup especially is like, "We should just get more." So they all sneak out. And even Bubbles kind of whispers something, which really she shouldn't whisper because the professor might wake up since he's asleep. But the thing is that they end up going in, finding more of the mix or whatever that's supposed to change them. And what happens is that they end up drinking too much. The next morning when they wake up, they're old, ancient women that are like extremely old, and they think to themselves, maybe the professor won't notice, and he immediately notices right away. He's like, I'm very disappointed in you girls, but the thing is that it's like, and he's like, well, you still have to go to school, and they're like, what? And it's like, well, you don't want to break your perfect attendance, and so they end up going to school, which is definitely an interesting time. Well, you may be wondering, what does that mean? Well, let's just say this much. They go to school, right? And, previously they were treated pretty poorly. Well, you have Bubbles, who is knitting a caboodle, which is some sort of hat. And the thing is that she gives it to a girl, and the girl is like, oh my god, you're so cool. Grim Bubbles, you're so cool. And then you have, Blossom, who, there's some boys that are like, give me your money, and he's like, I don't have any money, but I have some hard candy. And the thing is that that she ends up saying, you want some? And then the boy's like, no, hard candy's lame. And she's like, well, I guess you're not I guess you're not tough enough to eat some hard candy. And the thing is that he's like, I bet I am. And so he ends up buying into it. He's like, it's not terrible. And so then he ends up asking for more, and other people around him are like, oh, I want more. Then you have Buttercup, who during history class, it's boring, things are not interesting, and then she's like, Christopher Columbus discovered America. That's not true. Absolutely not. And then she ends up telling her own story about who discovered America, and it's an interesting thing. And the thing is that everyone starts to believe her, even though what she's saying is complete and utter lie. But it's convincing. And she's considered a grandma, and she's looked at as this wise and older figure that people want to listen to and think is right. So all that's happening, and then what happens is that they're enjoying their respect, and they go out to school, and everyone's like, bye bye grandmas, and everyone respects them and treats them like they're valuable and they're more important. And the thing is that they're traveling, and then you see Mojo Jojo. So this is his third appearance, and the thing is that he's on the phone with his mother, which is interesting because they've had a mention, I think, in the original show of his mother, but overall, I mean, it doesn't make much sense, but whatever. Anyway, he's walking by, and suddenly he sees the Powerpuff Girls is like, oh my god, you've gotten so old, and he starts to make fun of them and everything like that. And also the thing is that Bubbles is like, wait, I thought that was a cactus. I didn't realize that was Mojo Jojo. And he's like, yep, that's me. You can see my face, the helmet, big brain, laugh, and then he laughs. And then he's like, oh, hi, Mojo. And then she's like, oh, hi, Mojo. And the thing is that then they're ready to fight. But the thing is that they have to walk over in their walkers over to him. And he's like, okay, this is taking a while. This will be the easiest thing ever. So he needs to go buy a present for his mother. So he breaks into a bank, steals a ruby, and then steals some other things. He goes on a heist, and they're still traveling across the street. So eventually, he's driving. We have a whole bunch of stuff that he stole, and he has to hang up on his mother. And he says, "Oh, I'm just gonna go destroy the Powerpuff Girls." And the thing is that he's ready to ride into them. And the thing is that they end up using their own abilities, such as knitting and other things like that, to entrap him. And then all the kids that respected them were like, are you hurting our grandmas? And then what happens is that he's like, and then suddenly they all these kids start beating up on Mojo, and then the professor comes by afterwards, gives them the elixir, which, by the way, he was working on it, and he had this creature that he made, which was supposed to be the antidote for the oldness, but actually it made a giant monster, which is a friendly monster, but still interesting. And the monster comes with the professor to give them the elixir. They turn back to normal, and they say they're sorry. The professor says, just don't ever grow old. And then the monster as well hugs and is like, oh, this is really nice. And that's about it. So it's a really sweet episode as a whole. I hope you guys enjoy it yourselves. I thought it was interesting. There were definitely things, as I said before, that are a little bit questionable as far as the order of things. But as an episode as a whole, it was good. But definitely something interesting to note. But there are still a couple of characters that from the original show that I'm hoping to see, like the Rowdy Rough Boys, the Amoeba Boys, Sedusa, and maybe some others would be nice. But I think those three at least would be reasonable. I don't think there's many others that would make much sense, but I think that those three definitely, hopefully, we'll get. I know we're going to get Amoeba Boys probably around June, if not sooner. And Rowdy Rough Boys, I'm guaranteeing we're going to get, but I don't know about Sedusa. But we'll see. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please leave your comments below. Tell me what you guys think. Did you guys enjoy this? Have you watched it yet? What do you guys think? And are you enjoying the show so far? So please leave your comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So until then, I'm Crazy Samurai 71, and goodbye.